champion system. This will add to that. I mean, normally there are like, let's say there is not a good ice spell in the game, but champion system, one of the constellations might be giving ice. So I make myself an ice spell with whatever features do I want. Also, I always like to play a character like dual wielding, also sorcerer using magic. I can do that right now with sorcerer and dual wielding, but that doesn't feel right because there are only 2 conjuration spells in sorcerer class, which is unstable familiar and the twilight thing. But I would like to summon a Flameatron with it and then use an ice spell to immobilize my enemy, then just use my dual wielding skills. So spellcrafting system is way too awesome for me because it both reminds me of Oblivion, offers me customization and exploration. Everything I would want from Elder Scrolls Online is nearly in spellcrafting.
You know, I'm gonna say this right off the bat. With the implementation of spellcrafting and the justice system, this to me is probably the most complete Elder Scrolls game that I've ever played. I mean, because it has everything. Because Skyrim didn't have spellcrafting. You know, like this really is shaping up, in my opinion, to be the epitome of Elder Scrolls in form and function. Minus, like you said, if you want to play everything solo, technically you can. So taking people out, some people are like, oh, I like the solo experience. Well, you can play solo if you want. But it's still the epitome, in my opinion, of an Elder Scrolls game because it has all the things that we love and added a whole bunch of new stuff from all the different, pretty much every single game that has come out. This thing has all of it plus some, and it's just amazing. Exactly. I love it. Exactly. Now, both Ark and I are in love with the spellcrafting. Let's hear from Deltia, and Deltia can tell us why he is fearing this so much. Deltia?
I hate it. It's going to break the game. This is the one thing I could see breaking the game. Basically, you have classes. The purpose of a class is they play differently based on the skills that they have. Everyone has their own skills that they can get, such as, you know, medium armor traits, or, you know, you get your passives in medium armor, you get your mage's guild, blah, blah, blah. But you have unique class skills. What's really going to happen is everyone's going to find the one siphoning skill that basically can keep you alive forever. Everyone's going to find the one CC, powerful CC thing, put it on the internet, and now everyone can get stunned over and over. Everyone's going to find the super overpowered health thing, and then basically what this means is it's going to be cookie cutter central, and no class is really unique in any way. Is my vision of it. Now, I could be completely wrong, and it could be, you know, the greatest thing since sliced bread, but I don't want spellcrafting in my game. I'm happy with the spells. I don't want them to change. I don't want them to be manipulated, because I think that this is an MMO. If you got 1 million people playing this game, 1% will find ways to screw over the developers and make it so they can break the game. You're going to have Sorks that can do talons. You're going to have Dragon Knights that can have 35 meter range. It really scares me because I don't like the balancing.
No, let me interrupt here real quick for you. I didn't mean to interrupt you here, but I think this really is limited. Like, you're not going to be able to learn class skills from what I'm gathering. What I'm gathering from this is the spellcrafting will only apply to the schools of magic that you can find, such as, you know, the classic spells. So you'll never have talons in and of itself as a class unless you can reproduce it in some way.
You'll have the exact same thing as talons. You'll have an ice spell that roots people for 6 seconds. It's going to be called something different. That's okay. It's going to be talons without being called talons. That's the thing, is that you're going to be able to reproduce all this class skills and call them Billy Bob's Ice Spell 45. It doesn't matter. So that's what I'm afraid of. Now, if you couldn't reproduce the class skills and make, like, maybe, I don't know, a self-healing ice spell, great. That's fun. I get it. But I don't know. I just really am scared this is going to break the balance of the game, make classes non-unique and fun, and So I think we need a lot more information. I hope this comes in much, 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 much later than the other stuff, because I could see it ruining a lot of things. And this may make me leave the game if it becomes ridiculously powerful.
Now, DS Fangirl had another one. She says, wouldn't the crafted spells be used to just enhance builds, and there will be limitations due to magic costs and limited number of slots on the ability bars as well? My question is, and I think I saw this, like, the spell crafting stuff are going to... Now, I could be wrong, but I thought I heard this from the Q&A, that it's going to be consumable. So, like, you can craft a spell, but then you have to hold the stone things with you. And that... So when you cast the spell, it consumes one of the stone tablets.
Yeah, they said something like that.
So there will be a monetary... as well at, you know, a monetary cost as well, is what I'm gathering from this. So, like, when you craft the spell, yeah, but then you have to have the materials in order, like the reagents in order to cast it, or else you won't be able to. So I think there will be a monetary limitation as well. And I think that might drive a lot of people away from doing certain things with it, as, you know, because you can craft a spell, but then you need so many of the obsidian stone shards in order to cast it. And once you run out, you can't cast it anymore until you get more, and then there will be a cost to them.
Well, you know, that's a...
And it will require a lot of exploration to gather those, so people might actually be lazy and don't gather them at all.
Yeah, or use it in a way such as... an ace in the hole kind of card. Like, they're not going to use it all the time, but they're like, I got this little hidden backup ability that I can pull out if I'm willing to use the material. But I don't think people will be spamming it, because I think there is going to be a at least that's what I gathered from the QA, that there's going to be a material cost to it.
And they'll have things in place. How many MMOs you played? 15, 20, 30? I don't know. But every single MMO you've played, there's always a unbalanced factor. There always is. Now, none that I have ever known had something like this in them. Someone will find something so unbalanced it will be game breaking. I guarantee it. There'll be a way around the money, there'll be a way around the items, there'll be a way around every little thing that the developers have never thought of, and it'll be game breaking. Now, how fast they react to it, you know, that's one thing, but I'm deathly afraid of this, because if you can make an ice spell that self-heals and, you know, roots everyone and gives you unlimited stamina, who cares how much it costs? There's guilds that will farm all day to get it. You know, they'll get it, believe me, and they'll spend all day doing it. It's an MMO. People will break this game with that.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm just gonna say this, and I mean, look at Dragon Knights. I mean, or worse yet, the vampire sorcerers in Cyrodiil. That was something that it really was. That's something where people not cheese the system, but they found the best thing, and no one could kill them. And there are changes. If you really want to talk about breaking the game, that's one of those things I'm sitting there going, well, that's someone found a way that this was the optimal build that no one can touch, and that's all that ruled Cyrodiil for a long time.
That's why you stopped playing Cyrodiil, because it wasn't fun.
That's why I did, yes.
Now, that's the same exact feeling I would have about the entire game if it came to this.
Yeah, well, I guess this is one of those things that I will have to wait and see.
Yep.
I mean, we don't know. Maybe there will be more limitations. Like you said, who knows? We'll have to wait and see what is their limitations. How far can people actually push this, and is it viable to be? I mean, everything can be exploited, but how much so? There's a level of exploitation that is, I won't say fine, but it's permissible. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, this is the best thing, everyone has it, but it's not so it's annoying, but it's not so game-breaking that I hate the world. Right. So, we'll have to wait and see until we get more details on it, but I know the idea of customization, I like it.
Yeah.
I like having the ability. I love having, essentially this game is a trading card game where you have all these abilities, but you have to build a deck, and it's like, what do I want? And this is just something that I think will be really cool in the long run. But, excuse me. All right. So that is it for spellcrafting. Does anyone else have anything to say about spellcrafting before we move on to the last person?
Nope.
No, I said my
It's just I'm going
piece.
to like it no matter what.
All right. Excellent. Next up was Jared Carr, the art director. And he did a few things. First off, and I'm sure doesn't need to be a lot of discussion on this unless we have it, but first thing he talked about was combat responsiveness and how they're going to change this in order to make combat feel more responsive. Already, I feel it's really responsive. Is it the best responsiveness I've ever had in an MMO? No. Is it the worst? No, not at all. I've been in some really, really bad games that are just not responsive at all. When Rift first came out, it was probably the worst thing for responsiveness, and people macroing all the abilities together. They could hit one button and it would use a priority. Didn't help either. But in order to make combat responsive more visceral and feel better, they're adding audio cues for things such as like when you're out of stamina, out of magicka, or when you use potions, which is good. They're going through all the abilities and animations and are speeding them up to make it so that it just doesn't feel like it takes as long. They will also be making adjustments to poses, and this is something I know Thais is going to love when she actually sees this, because she always hates the way they stand. She always makes fun of who runs like this, and she does this little hunched over run animation. It's rather funny to look at. They're also adding, and as much as a lot of people hate this word, I actually love it, they're adding a priority culling system. Okay, for those who don't know what a culling system is where they show you what you can see and what you cannot, what your client renders. Where this can be a bad thing is culling in a way that it limits the amount of things you can see on your screen and you're not getting the data that you need. Guild Wars 2 was bad for this at the beginning because their system wasn't prepared to handle a lot of people. So when these giant Zergs were running through the world versus world zone, the entire raid would be invisible. You would see like 5 people and go, there's only 5. But then as you ran closer, it would start rendering the client, or would render the people, and it would go, oh, now it's 10. Oh, it's 100. And then you were dead. And there was actually a trick that was done, which was called portal bombing, where they would create a portal, and the entire raid would sit on top of the portal, and one person would run into a mob of other enemies and drop a portal, and then everyone would use it and port into the center of the opposing raid, just AoEing. The problem was, because of the calling system, people couldn't see the people in there to target, and they just died to the AoE. So that's where a calling system can be bad. Now what they're doing is they're creating a calling system which will prioritize your abilities, or abilities that are being done to you, or in particular boss abilities, so that you can... Okay, phone, I got you. So that they can, you see them first, because abilities that you're doing and abilities that bosses or players are doing to you are, of course, top priority. And then it goes down the list to, then it shows people in your group, and then so on and so on. So that guy over there in the corner who's casting 900 spell effects, you might not see his abilities because they don't pertain to you in any way, and all they do is slow your client down. So they're going to be changing that. But as a whole, for those people who have a better rig, they are adding an ability to toggle the calling system on and off. Thank goodness. Because one of the things that annoyed me was, I have a pretty beast rig, okay? Like, really beast. My connection sucks, but my computer is good. And I hated being artificially called. Now, the ability to turn it on and off is pretty awesome to me. If I'm not experiencing any FPS issues, why would I need culling? But maybe someone else does. And they're actually adding a slider to the game that will either increase or decrease the radius of particle effects, how far out you can see them. They're also pre-caching all combat abilities that they're always available. That means all that stuff will be stored locally for you when you're playing. That way your client doesn't have to spend time rendering it. Yes, this rendering could only be, milliseconds, but, too much rendering, your computer might not be able to handle it. And weapon swapping is now instant and overrides all combat actions. So if you're in the middle of a spell and you weapon swap, it will cancel it and switch to the new weapon. So anyone have anything to say about combat responsiveness? Deltia.
Oh, I didn't know about the graphics stuff. That's fascinating, actually. That's awesome. And the weapon swapping is a problem. I have been noticing on certain weapons there is some, problems with responsiveness. I don't know if they're planning to address weapon cancellation, because that's a big problem in the game right now. Being able to add DPS by essentially canceling a weapon, using a heavy attack while something's casting to get off a heavy attack in a small amount of time. So if they adjust that too and add these, because that would really help Cyrodiil, I think, especially if the players are doing things out in the distance and it's not affecting your character. So that's pretty impressive. I like that.
Indeed, and here's a simple thing that you can do to combat weapon canceling. Doing the same thing weapon swapping does. Overrides all combat actions. When you hit a new ability, it will cancel your previous one if it's not done.
Yeah, they need to do that.
So, if I'm hitting my ability, I want that ability to go off. It should, and if in particular case, if I'm going at, if I was in the middle of a wrecking blow, because it's a 2-second cast time, and I see something coming at me and I have to do something else, I want that priority to happen. I would rather just essentially drop my sword in mid-swing and pick up a shield right away to block damage, because that was, at that time, what I deemed was more important. If I didn't deem it was more important, I would let the ability go through, So yeah, there's going to be a lot of that stuff coming. So I don't know that. I know they say with weapon swapping will cancel all, but I think it would be a pretty simple fix that if a cast is going and you hit another ability, you should just cancel it. Just boom, that's it. And that would resolve a lot of that weapons canceling issues. Okay. Ark, do you have anything to say about any of the combat responsiveness?
Yeah, that instant weapon swapping is the most important part for me, because playing a tank with just 5 abilities is a big problem, since you have to have your taunts, armors, healing, green blood dragon, everything on the bar. So in a combat, I have to keep swapping weapons, and sometimes it's just with milliseconds I die because I can't swap my weapon in time to activate the green blood dragon thing. So yeah, I believe combat responsiveness may not be the most exciting part of the panel, but I think it was the most important part of it, actually.
And I agree with this, because here's a case in point. When we were doing that veteran fungal grotto, okay, and Kipster had me going into the portal. I was using my bow for when I was out there so I could just, fling arrows at the boss. But when I got sucked into the portal, I went to melee. But there was a delay where I needed my two-handed axe in my hands when I was in that portal, not the bow, because those spiders started attacking you right away. But there were times where I'm sitting there holding the bow and I'm hitting my button for the weapon swap, and there was a delay, and that delay cost me time to attack those spiders. They're sitting there beating on me, and I'm like, hold on a second, I gotta pull my greatsword out of my backpack. Just 1 second. Stop spitting me. Give me 2 seconds. That's what it felt like. And instant weapon swapping will definitely help, because then I'll be like, boom, there I go. And now that would not happen to me. So, yeah. All right, the next thing that Jared Carr talked about, and we're actually going to hit this in somewhat fast succession. New armor and weapons. All right, first off, they showed us a Kathringi motif. They showed us Morid Tong and Dark Brotherhood armors, Thieves Guild items, glass armor, and they're going to be making high-level Alliance theme gear. They're coming out with Undaunted armor sets, Imperial Daedric armor, and Dwemer armor. They've also added the ability to make trophy armor from bosses, such as when you kill a Daedroth, cutting off its head and making it a helmet. All right, now I just want to get all that out there. Now let us talk about the armor as a whole. What was your favorite set? Out of all the ones shown, which was your favorite?
Dark Brotherhood, Hell Cities. Because Dark Brotherhood is the most important thing about Elder Scrolls for me. So yeah, Dark Brotherhood armor was the best thing.
All right, and Deltia, what about you?
It was definitely the PvP. It was utterly amazing. Like the detail, that captures what a badass PvPer should look like.
Right on. I'm kind of torn, actually. I actually like the Heavy Armor Thieves Guild. Like, I really did. I remember actually getting my goodness, an add-on. Sorry, I don't know why it took me so long. An add-on in Skyrim to convert the Thieves Armor to Heavy Armor. Like, it gave it the rating so I could wear that for a while. And I love the Heavy Armor version of the Thieves Guild stuff. It just looks awesome. I also have a soft spot in my heart for Dwemer, but the thing that kind of surprised me was actually the Kathringi ceremonial motif. I just liked the way it looked. It looked very complex, and I just liked the look of it. Like, I really do. And I tend to play characters who are, of course, the Holy Warrior archetype, so think the Knight in Shining Armor. And being Elder Scrolls, there's not a lot of that Knight in Shining Armor type gear. You know, classical Middle Ages armor, because we're all kind of, it's a little different. With a few exceptions, such as I think the Imperial armor can look really good like that, and some of the other stuff. But I really liked the Thieves Guild Heavy Armor is probably my favorite out of all of them. In chat, I just asked what was the favorite armor weapon set, and TS Fangirl said she really liked the boss-themed helmets. I like the idea of wearing my trophy kills, and she thought the Kathringi was the prettiest.
Prettiest or purtiest?
I think she meant to say pretty.
She made it say purdy.
Prettiest. And Hero Lev says, what's Molig Ball's head look like as armor? That'd be a cool helmet. Probably. But I think the closest you're gonna get is probably one of the like the harvesters. Those are pretty neat looking. So, armor and weapons definitely was really cool. And I mean, I like the Dark Brotherhood storylines, but I don't think I will actually be wearing all of that, because I'm not the assassin type. I'm the Holy Warrior type. But I did like the Thieves Guild stuff. Okay, with that being said,
assassin type just because of this.
Yeah. That's what I'm the Holy Warrior. I'm gonna be hunting down all the Thieves Guild people. Okay, next up, actually, does anyone have anything else they want to say about armor and webs before we really move on? I mean, there wasn't a lot really to say other than ooh, ah, not a lot of discussion unless you had something very specific to say.
Nope.
No. Okay. Next thing, new adventure zone, Murkmire, part of Black Marsh underneath Shadowfens, contains lush green swamp with some Cyrodiilic looking uplands and a dark bog. Within this area, they're introducing a new non-player character race, the Naga, and of course, fire-breathing turtles. Who can do anything without fire-breathing turtles? That's what I gotta say. What do you guys think, Murkmire, like, as an adventure zone? Are you looking for something else? Are you looking for them to copy the Craglorn model? Or do you hope they do something different?
Is the Craglorn model really successful? I mean, what is there to do? There's a couple dailies that take forever and have terrible rewards. There's a couple dungeons that you run once or twice, and that's it. And then there's trials there. So really, the model, in my opinion, is terrible right now for adventure zones. Like, there needs to be like a weekly reward, dailies, like a whole gear set, like a Craglorn gear set. Right now it's like, Craglorn, ooh, what am I gonna do there? I'm gonna go farm anomalies? Why? There's nothing better than doing trials or PvP, so I don't really get it. But adding, more is better, but I think the model needs to change. Like, what's the incentive to do quests there once you've already hit BR12, right? There's two things to do: trials or PvP. That's it. Because what's the incentive unless I'm missing something?
No, I agree. And here's something I hope they do with this. I hope that they allow in Murkmire with the trials. You know how there's unique weapon sets that come from the raids. what I'm hoping they allow people to do is by adventuring within Murkmire, there be a super low chance while adventuring to get a, let's just call it a trait stone, that would allow a crafter to create a piece of the gear that you would find from the raids, to give crafters a reason to go out there and do quests, give other people a reason to go out and do stuff in the area, because, hey, you kill that anomaly, there's a 0.05 chance that you'll get a crafting token, you know, that will allow you to craft that piece of armor.
That's a great idea, but it's not there yet, so there's really no point in doing it, in my opinion.
For what?
I said that's a great point to make it fun and enjoyable adventure zones, but right now, after you've done the delves and stuff, what's the point of doing it? There's none.
Yeah, currently, but that's one of the ideas I would say they need to do to incentivize people to do the content.
Yeah.
Make it low so it's not everyone gets it, but there's still a reason to go out and do it, you know? Because if you get that piece, you're like, hey guys, guess what? I'm now, I might have got my gear lockout for the week, but now, hey, guess what? I got this piece, and now I can craft it, with the same item set, and I can make it look like however I want. It may not have the looks, but I can now have another piece towards that set, Now I'm a week ahead of myself just by going out and doing the content. Yeah, they need to incentivize people to go out and do the stuff. Either have really good rewards or, like you said, the rare drops that might help you out as a progression. So... Art, do you have anything to say about Murkmire other than fire-breathing turtles?
Yeah, other than fire-breathing turtles, I don't have anything to say.
Okay, yeah, I know. I kind of stole your thunder because, well, fire-breathing turtles are awesome. So, yeah. Next up, they introduced a new solo PvP zone or PvE zone, Hrothgar. It's near High Rock and Skyrim, given to the orcs when they joined the Daggerfall Covenant, and that is where their ancestral home of Orsinium is located. I'm actually going to say this. I actually don't like this, and I'll explain why. Ever since we started the game, Thais and I always play together. We're always a duo. This will separate us, similar to how the main storyline would separate us into private instances, which was okay, I guess. But they were shorter. This is an entire zone that I have to do by myself. I mean, yeah, this is great for people like, I don't know, Shank from Elder Scrolls Off the Record. He loves solo content. Now he'll be by himself. But for those of us, at least before he would have the option to play by himself, now I don't have the option to play with people that I want to play with. And I don't like it. Anyone have any comments on that?
Well, I disagree with you. I mean, I think you have plenty of stuff to do, so giving people that truly want that solo experience it's what they want. So, I mean, they're giving something for everyone. So I totally get what you're saying, but at the same point, I'm getting what I want, small PvP. So someone should be able to get what they want, and that's like solo things to do by themselves that, for whatever reason, they just don't want other people around. So, I don't know. I'm devil's advocate on this one.
Yeah, I'm fine. I get the idea. Art, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I agree with Dal. I mean, when they introduced this solo PvE zone, I was like, yeah, they made this for Shank. He probably mailed them or something. But yeah, there are players that want to be completely solo. I mean, they don't want to see any other players at all. So, giving them a adventure zone just for them is a good thing, I believe. I mean, do you have to do the adventure zone? I mean, separated by Thais? Or could you just skip it?
Well, I'm not going to skip it. I'm a completionist, and so is she. It's just a matter of when it's not a bad idea. It's not. It's one of those things where we're so used to always playing together. At this point in time, we'll have to make the conscious decision to break up and go. Yes, I'm one person. I get that. And this is not a game breaker for me or anything like that where it's like, oh my goodness, this is the worst thing in the world. It's not. It's just a minor pet peeve of mine that I really don't like, because now I don't get to adventure it with my wife. I have to, okay, babe, you do your Hrothgar, I'll do mine. But what if she gets stuck and needs help and I can't help her? Or I need help and she can't help me. It's just, yeah, I get the solo, but I don't know. It all depends. Also, let's put it like this. how big is the zone? If it's a full-size zone, that could be hours of content that we're essentially playing by ourselves, which some would argue is good. To me, I'd be like, yeah, let's hurry up and just get this done so we can go back into our duo. I don't know. I think I better if they made this an instance, because I'm sure they are, but allowing you to bring as many people as you want, and it would only be you guys. That would at least, that would solve the issue of, oh, we want to be solo, or we want to play with friends. You can pick and choose your friends. You can have up to a 4-person party go in here and do it. Maybe have it scale if you bring more people in. I don't know. Again, it's a pet peeve of mine. Not really, you know, oh, no real skin off my back. It's just kind of an annoyance. The zone looks cool, though. Like, really cool.
They have female giants.
Yeah, that's what one of the notes I have on here. The next thing. Orsinium looks cool, and female giants are hot. Indeed they are. Yeah. Now, not only is they used to have to worry when I play The Witcher about going into brothels and stuff like that, but now she's going to have to worry about me hitting on female giants. And all that reminds me of is the female giants is the episode of Futurama where they land on Amazonia. Krog wants snoo. You get it now. And that's big giant lady. Scary. Sorry to anyone who doesn't watch Futurama, but for those of you who do, we'll just, crack up. All right. Anyone have anything to say about those last bit from Jared Carr?
Nope.
Okay. Last up is the Q&A session. Matt Fire kind of headed this up a little bit. Now, I didn't copy everything down, but I copied a couple things that I thought were interesting. So when I get done with my list, if either of you guys saw anything from the Q&A that you liked, just let us know and we'll go over it. Oh, and before I even start this, TS Fangirl says, I like the idea of private instance for Hrothgar in which players can choose to run it with a few other players. I wonder if they wouldn't have made it I wonder why they wouldn't have made it optional. And yeah, that's my idea too. It's like, yeah, so for the people who want to be solo, let them go in solo, but then it's instance of them, or it's instance of Thais and I, or whatever the case may be. And she does think that female giants look awesome. My wife likes them, but the thing she's complaining about most is she's like, I want children in the game. The world doesn't feel alive until I see kids running around cities. So, yeah. All right, so these were the top questions that I personally picked out and I thought were interesting. First off was, will there ever be a barbershop for players? And they responded, they want to introduce it in more of an RP mechanic where people can earn it and give it to others. The artists are working on a lot of customization, and they will be releasing it, a barbershop, just not sure how or when. Yeah, because I need a haircut. No one else? No one else needs a haircut?
Oh, I think this is great. Yeah, there's some things that need to be in the game yet that aren't, and it's going to take time to get in here. That's like, there is no server transfer, thank you God. But yeah, some of these customization things, people that pick different races and want to change, that needs to be able to be changed because it's a huge decision. And same with like my haircut. I want a new look. I accidentally pressed the wrong thing on the chick I'm playing right now, and so I'd pay $10 to change it. I would.
Yeah, same here actually, because I picked a hairstyle that I it was the best for my Nord, and I missed one. And I actually wish I had the Caesar haircut because I like that. And my Imperial has it, but my Nord doesn't. And apparently, it is available on Nords, and I missed it. And I would have made it on that one, but I would pay $10 to change it, or a barbershop item where someone could, do an achievement, earn it, and then give it to me. I would love that because I need a haircut. Anyway, next up, if a player steals, is there bounty on a timer? Is there bounty? Not I have there as in a place instead of there as in its ownership. Man, stupid autocorrect. They will have what they call a KOS system. The more bad things you do to it will add to your bounty cost, and eventually you get into a state where your bounty is so high you are just considered KOS, or kill on sight. Until you pay off your bounty, you will remain kill on sight. It may change during development, but for now, if you're bad, you will have to pay your dues. I like that a lot. I really do. I wonder if there's going to be like a type of redemption, or will KOS clear after you've been killed? Because I know in Ultima Online it was an hour thing. When you were KOS for 8 in-game hours, like you had to be online, you were marked KOS and could be killed as many times as you want. After that point in time, though, you would go back to a good state. Same if you were a thief for 4 in-game hours, you were considered a thief and could be killed without, any negative repercussions to the person killing you, as long as, it was there. What do you guys feel about that?
I also wonder if there will be a way to clear our kill on-site orders ourselves without paying bounties or getting killed, like a quest or something.
Right, because here's my problem. Currently, in the video, they showed the bounty of a guy who had a bounty that was like 170k. Like, it was just an insane amount of gold. And then he was marked kill on sight when guards tried to arrest him. If it clears when you're killed, I don't know about you, but no amount of armor degrade from 1 kill, or even several kills, would earn up to that amount of gold. So it's like, yeah, just kill me, because it costs less for me to repair my armor than it does for me to pay off that bounty. I think there needs to be a way of redeeming yourself somehow, or paying off it actually being a way of getting it so that it's balanced. Because why not just go all the way to KOS and have someone kill you, and then you're free of it and pay 200 gold repair? That's it, versus paying off 170,000 gold bounty. Of course, it's no brainer. I think you should remain kill on sight until you complete a quest or something to redeem your name, and it might be difficult. TES Fangirl says, Ark, maybe if you join the Thieves Guild and they can work out getting rid of your bounty, they will be introducing the Thieves Guild at some point. Yeah, they actually said Thieves Guild and Dark Brotherhood would probably come in right after the update for Justice System. Because Justice System was necessary for those 2 guild lines to be implemented. Deltia, do you have anything to say about the bounty?
No, it's not really too fascinating for me. I know the justice system's big for the game, but I don't know. We'll have to wait till we'll see what it's implemented like.
Sure. And this one we kind of answered a little bit earlier, but when are we going to see the new FaceFX? And they said it's unknown at this point. They are past the point of development where they get it implemented. Now it's more of a production issue. With all the testing QA, it's potentially months away. Kind of self-explanatory. We kind of said it earlier. Will you ever implement dueling? And they said a dueling system sounds pretty simple, but it isn't always very simple. And the reason is, several factors, like can other players join in? How do you prevent them from joining in? How do you invite other players to a duel? How do you not annoy players with duels? There are a lot of things to consider when implementing a dueling system. And they said once they have the justice system in place, they'll have a lot of tools necessary to get dueling in, but they didn't give us an ETA. But yeah. Anything about dueling?
I love dueling. Dueling is the heart and soul of learning your class in PvP. So basically, yeah, there's dueling guilds already in the game that go in Cyrodiil and fight each other, but something like this really could help. When I was in high-end PvP guilds, that's what we did. We duel before waiting for a queue to pop, and we'd hours dueling. You get so good at your classes and testing out builds, and yeah, it's a must.
Absolutely. Next up is when will we see some time sinks that are not related to fighting, such as mini games, horse racing, housing, or a music system, etc. And they said they're talking about adding in new time sync systems. Now, this is where I was saying earlier how there's a difference between it being through development and talking about it. Now they're including one of the things they're thinking about is including making the new the fishing system more exciting. Dropped some hints about horse racing. These are all things they're working on, but they will wait till they have more stuff hammered out before they announce anything. Pretty self-explanatory. I want a dice system for gambling because, yeah, it fits the lore. Next up is, what are the plans to make stamina builds compared to magical builds? And they say there's a lot of plans for this. One, they have already added ways. They have already added was to have medium armor have passive reduce the cost, because light armor had it, but medium armor didn't. There are a number of weapon-based attacks that need a boost, and they are doing things to bring some parity between spell crit and weapon crit, and how ultimate works, where it will pick the highest value to base the damage off of. Still didn't say anything about that triple dipping or quadruple dipping of stamina, but maybe they don't see that as a big of a problem as the rest of us.
Yeah.
Do you have plans to reduce respec costs? First week of Update 3, they are going to make respec extremely cheap, like something like 100 gold, maybe even less. And they're going to be reducing the full cost when they bring it back up near the end of Update 3. Lastly, they're also working on a way to allow us to respec just our morphs, which is pretty awesome. I know a lot of people, like, that's something I would say. I'm like, then, either a skill line or just let me do my morphs, because sometimes I, just want to get rid of one morph and pick a different. And, last of all, the champion system will have a built-in respec system, so once you earn a point, you'll be able to respec it. They weren't really clear on that, but that's what they said. So that's going to be kind of cool. Anything on either of those?
Yeah, respecing definitely needs a big fix, but that will bring a lot of different builds and unique stuff without that huge resource taken away, because gold is important and it's hard to get. So yeah, I can see that being an important thing. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go. I think running a little bit late for something, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine actually. You know what? Because of how long the show is going, I think we're gonna skip because that's the end of that passive, and I think what we'll do is we'll just skip the rest of the show up until the one thing I want to do yet. If you can give us just another 5 minutes, Deltia. We're gonna skip the Tales section for this week. We'll have to get you guys on here and we'll grab it again.
No reading without Tales after all.
Yeah, exactly. But I did want to hit up, the last thing that I want to hit up is the community spotlight, because that's why we have Ark here. So Ark, as part of the community, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you're doing in the Elder Scrolls community, what you're looking to, what you're trying to do, what your future plans are, and where people can find you and what you're doing.
Okay, I'll try to keep it short. So my website name is Arkhaniir's Quest. I don't know if I'll be able to spell it, so I'll just type it in the chat. So for now, I'm posting as much as news as I can, as fast as I can, hearing them. I'll try to post guides, but before that I have to learn the game throughout myself, so I'm waiting for that. What I'm actually planning to do is to make something unique to my website. I mean, like, you introduced one website, they were doing the recipes in real life. Something like that. So I'm planning on doing props and costumes from Elder Scrolls Online and other Elder Scrolls series. Like real life crafting.
That is going to be awesome. It really is.
I'm going to make a Dawnbreaker as a start, the Meridia's artifact. So I'm planning on doing that. I survived this podcast, so I think I'll make video tutorials, which would be better to show the things. Beyond that, I take a lot of screenshots as I play Elder Scrolls Online, because this game is about scenery for me. I mean, I love the world of Elder Scrolls series. So you can check the gallery in my website. I try to update it as often as I can. So that's about it for now. I am also planning to start a podcast, but I'm not sure when will that happen.
Excellent.
So yeah, that's about it for now.
All right, man. Well, definitely that sounds awesome. I love looking at that kind of stuff when people and the one you're referring to is Khajiit Gamer, because it was really neat how they took crafting recipes from provisioning and made it in real life. You know, like if it asked for like Guar meat, they substituted with chicken or something. But they made the stuff, and it was just really, really cool. And I'm actually really excited to see what you can come up with. And definitely thank you so much for being a part of the Elder Scrolls community, and definitely an awesome friend and fan of the show. We love having you, and definitely if you want to come back, you're more than welcome to. So thank you so much for being part of the Elder Scrolls Online community, man.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to this.
Just go, thanks, and then we move on. All right. I'm going to save the emails and iTunes reviews till next week, because we are running a little late. And we actually have a very long email that I do want to get into, but I think that would take it, it has a lot of stuff into it. So if you're listening, this is for Deatomizer. Your email is coming next week, and Jones SW, your iTunes review is coming next week. So if you're listening, don't think I skipped you. You're coming next week. Okay, so we're up to our final thoughts now, guys. And normally I have Thais go first because it's ladies first. But since she's not here, I'm going to have our guest host go first. And let's start with Ark. So just tell us what your final thoughts are for the episode, and where they can find you, like on Twitter and your website. So. Okay.
First of all, I want to apologize for any mistakes I made through speaking. English is not my native language, as you know. And I was nervous as hell, enough to play an elf. So you can find me on Twitter at Arkhaniir. I'll just write it down at the end. I have a Facebook page also, Arkhaniir's Quest. My website, arkhaniirsquest.com. I can't spell it actually, so I'll skip that. Show was good. I mean, this was my first time on a podcast and on live show, so I was nervous. And the panel was amazing. It took 3 hours for us to go over it, since they introduced so much. That's about it. I mean.
Well, awesome, man.
One thing I wanna add. I was keeping this for the Tales part, but since we had skipped it. Thais and you are going to be mad at me for this, but I kinda liked Queen Ariane.
Oh.
I had to say this because she's not classic, arrogant, highborn, high elf, dirty thing. She was kind of familiar and kind.
There you go.
So I wanted to say this.
I'm still sticking with her being a dirty high elf prostitute. And as Ark, you did a fantastic job, absolutely fantastic. You speak English better than I do, so and English is my native language. I just suck at it. So thank you so much for coming on. We had a blast having you on, and you're always welcome back, man. Anytime you want. I know it's kind of late there, and it's probably even later now, but anytime you want to come on, you just let us know, and you're more than welcome.
Thanks.
Next up, Deltia. Just tell us your final thoughts and where we can find you.
DeltiasGaming.com website, or at Deltias Gaming on Twitter. That's where I'm really active. And YouTube, Deltias Gaming as the user. So about the show, I think we did really good. Ark, you're a big part of the community. I appreciate all the things you do and your Twitter responsiveness and your website. So keep it up. Especially you guys tell us Tamriel. It's a lot of fun listening and just participating. And the game really has a bright future. I mean, there's gonna, I know I'm not too thrilled about spellcrafting, but there's so much else that's going on great for the game. I just think it's gonna be a really, really bright future. I like the community. I mean, ultimately, that's why you stick or leave a game. It's just, if the community's there, you got buddies, and I'm really just enjoying it. So it's not perfect, nothing ever is, but as far as it, I can see a bright future, and I'm gonna be around to, and enjoy it.
Absolutely, man. And again, Deltia, You are always welcome. We love having you on the show. You are fantastic. Thank you so much for running the stream for us, because you know my internet is terrible. So I can't do it. So we really appreciate you doing that. You allow us to have the chat room, and thank you so much for the chat room for showing up. We had a very nice amount of people on here. I know we got a little long. We lost a few people, but we had I think 12, 13 people on at our highest point, which is more than we've ever had before. Because we do record very infrequently, so people don't know when we're actually recording. I tried to post it several times throughout the week that we were actually going to do a live show this week. And the show was fantastic. I loved having both of my guest hosts on here. You both were fantastic. I love working with the community. I love all the community. Like the Elder Scrolls Online community is amazing. Whether it be Arkhaniir with his Arkhaniir's Quest. TES Fangirl was very, very active. You should follow her too. It's TES Fangirl on Facebook, or not Facebook, on Twitter. QGN guys, I love them. Avarwin, all them. Like, I know we didn't mention them, but they're just another huge part of the community. And they're, even though they're like one of the biggest podcasts out there for Elder Scrolls, they still like talk to us, like the Lobby guys, like whatever it is. I've been talking to Avarwin a lot, and willing to help us out. It's just the community itself. Like we're not in competition so much as we're, hey, let's help. Like, I know we hopped on TSOcast at one point to help out Road when he had some guest hosts go out. Road hopped on our podcast. It's just the community itself. We're not against each other. We want to help each other out. When I see podcasts that haven't posted episodes in a while, I'm just like, guys, what do you need to keep going? Like, let's keep going. Let's keep doing this together. This is what I love about this community, is how responsive we all are and how much we all love this game. We have this common game that we all love, and we want to see it succeed. As for the future of ESO, oh my goodness, is it bright indeed. It is almost everything in there I'm excited about. Just like Deltia, there's certain things that you're like, maybe they should change. Like, I'm not fond of the solo PvE thing. That's my kind of, I would much rather it be instance to a party, or scaling to how many people you bring in. That would make it more fun for me. But, there's certain things in every game that, I don't prefer to play, but it needs to be there for the people who like to do that. Like arena PvP and WoW, I didn't really like doing it that much. I did it every once in a while, but it wasn't my thing. But there were people who were subscribed solely for that, So I heard people subscribe to the game for pet battling, and that was all they were subscribed for. But all the power to them, and more things they can get into this game, the broader range it will be for players, and it's such a beautiful, amazing game. I just want people to get out there and see it and enjoy it with us. So. I want to thank all my co-hosts for joining me this evening. Sorry it went very long. We had a lot to talk about. As for myself, I said my thoughts, what I thought about. I want to thank everyone for listening to this podcast. Without you guys, we wouldn't be around. You guys are amazing. If you wish to help support us, you can do so via the PayPal link on our website. If you wish to contact us with questions, comments, criticisms, the website for our show is talesoftamriel.com. Deltia is deltiasgaming.com, and Arkhaniir is arkhaniirsquest.com. You can get to all of our stuff from there. You can email the show specifically at podcast@talesoftamriel.com. You can follow the show on Twitter at Tales of Tamriel. If you would like to follow myself, Aggelos, personally, my Twitter is at Aggelos. That's AGGELOS _WOF. Facebook.com at Facebook.com/Tales of Tamriel podcast, or on YouTube at youtube.com/Tales of Tamriel. Also, feel free to rate and subscribe to us via iTunes. That helps us out so much, guys. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this mega episode of Tales of Tamriel. Have a good night, everybody.